And I'm sure a few other people will hop on as we go, but I'm Natalie Payne. I'm the Vice President of Sales for the Calliope Collective. We are a fairly new sales representation company. We've been around for about a year and a half now, and hopefully you can see my screen again, but we are already up to these 11 phenomenal properties, and we have a few more in the works. And, they're all independently owned. We are part of Preferred Hotels, and most of these hotels are part of Preferred, but we do have two that aren't Preferred. And that's kind of why we started this Calliope branding and wanted to just be a standalone. I know there's a lot of sales representation companies, but we definitely want to be your go-to for high-end, independently owned properties that are very unique to their destination, that offer something really special. So today we're going to focus on our Ireland properties. So thank you for joining and for your interest in Ireland. But please, please let me know if you need anything for Italy. We have Camarol, which is a new one in Spain. And then this afternoon at 1 p.m., I know some of you are also signed up. We have our US and Caribbean properties that we're doing as well. So before I hand it over to Michelle from the Dylan, who is joining us today, all the way from Dublin, just wanted to let you know, kind of put Calliope in context. She was a Greek muse, one of the 9 muses in Greek mythology over poetry and music and the finer things in life, which is what we sell in the luxury leisure market for sure. Calliope literally means beautiful voice. So we hope we're sharing the word, with our beautiful voices. And then I love that there's a Calliope hummingbird, which is one of the smallest birds in the entire world, and it flies over 5,000 miles to migrate. So, when you are an independent hotel, when you're not part of a chain, we have to work really hard to stay in front of our clients and to make sure that you guys know what's going on and all of the new things that are happening, which almost all of our hotels have taken advantage of the COVID situation, and in the last year or two really made a lot of changes. So we're excited to tell you about those. Again, today we're in Ireland, and as we develop the Calliope collection, we really want to kind of replicate what we've done in Ireland because it's working so well. In Ireland, we truly have kind of the perfect itinerary, especially if it's somebody's first trip to Ireland, because our hotels hit every button, every hot spot and attraction that you want to see on your first visit to Ireland. So we have the Dylan in Dublin. We have the K Club, which is about 30 minutes outside of Dublin and from Dublin Airport. Down in the south, we have the Europe Hotel in Killarney. And then just 10 minutes from Shannon Airport, we have Dromoland Castle. So the ideal is that you fly into Dublin and out of Shannon, but you could also fly in and out of Dublin and do the Dylan on one end and the K Club on the other. So there's a couple of options with this itinerary. I have enjoyed working with Tourism Ireland. They are probably the most supportive tourism entity that we've worked with, and they've worked really hard to get back. Please mute yourself if you're not muted. They've worked really hard to get back the direct flights to Dublin after COVID. And remember, when you're leaving Ireland, you clear customs. So a lot of people love that. They're even adding Ireland on to the end of their other, European tours because it's so easy and you clear customs right there. So with that, Michelle, I'm going to give you the screen share here. And we will start with the Dylan, which is one of my favorite hotels. It reminds me, I always say, of the Greenwich in Tribeca, like you're in Tribeca or Soho kind of area. It's such a great area. So welcome to Michelle Blake.
Hi, everybody. Just ignore this. I didn't want to knock you off, Natalie. So I just want to make sure. Yeah. Ignore my messy desktop, everybody. Please close your eyes. So hi, I am based at the Dylan here in the heart of Dublin City. We are can you see my screen okay?
Yep.
Perfect. I can actually probably just do it a little bit bigger, it'd be better. We are based in kind of downtown Dublin, right in Dublin South City Centre. We're an Irish-owned 72-bed property, a real passion project for the family that owned the property. It's their only hotel. It's the only hotel they want. And, it really is a labor of love. And they've bought the property in 2006 and just made lots of really positive changes over the last couple of years, including this year, which we've had a really exciting renovation. The facade of the building is this beautiful Victorian facade, which was actually commissioned by Queen Victoria to be a home for nurses in Dublin. So the original drawings for the architects are on the right-hand side. And as you can see, the facade has changed very little today. But we're in this gorgeous kind of, I guess, part of the city, which is synonymous with the kind of Victorian and Georgian architecture that you see dotted around the city. And a really nice place for guests to base themselves when they're exploring Dublin. It's the sort of the leafy tree-lined streets, the beautiful Dublin Georgian doors, the bars, of course, we've got plenty. And you're very close to kind of Merrion Square and the galleries and all the attractions that people travel to Dublin to see. Like the Book of Kells, like the shopping on Grafton Street. I mean, Dublin is a really small city, the heart of which is like 2 kilometers square. So it's just a great city to get lost in, talk to strangers, wander around, have a Guinness, and it's not very intimidating. It's a very easy city for families, for elderly, for any age group really to explore. The mountains of Dublin are really about 30 minutes outside of the city. So you have these gorgeous hikes and bikes and trails that we can assist you or your clients to organize. So again, it's just a really fun way of getting out into the sort of lush greenery that Dublin is known for, or that Ireland is known for. So even if you have guests and they're only in Ireland for 3 or 4 nights and they don't have the time to go to the West Coast, this can be a really great way to incorporate that sort of country rural experience. And then we have this gorgeous coastline. So I can't promise the sunshine or sunbathing, but it is fun and it's beautiful. And there's gorgeous kind of cliff walks and seafood restaurants and places that you can go diving. It's for the brave, I'll admit that much, but it's a lot of fun. And again, something that, a lot of Irish people would do, particularly those that live along the coastline. So it can be something different, I think. The property itself, we are 72 bed, as I mentioned. We really are a home in Dublin. We're small. We don't have big meeting space. We don't have like big weddings, big conferences. It's all about that sort of leisure and sort of luxury experience. Gorgeous little areas to kick back and relax for a drink or a bite to eat. This is an entry-level bedroom, so quite large for the city, and very, all the mod cons that you'd expect at a 5-star level. We have gorgeous suite categories as well. And then this year we completed a original house renovation project. So these images don't do it justice. They're literally just renderings, but it gives you a feel for the new look. And it's all around textiles and colors. I think the owners really wanted the rooms to have almost like a domestic feel, very comfortable, and not your typical kind of hotel bedroom. All of the furniture is walnut. It was handmade by a craftsman in Longford in Ireland, in the Midlands of Ireland. And it was very important, again, for the owners and for sustainability that the furniture and the craftsmanship was Irish, and a real labor of love, I think, as well. So really stunning. We'll have the new imagery, I think, by the end of next week. So I'll most certainly share that with you then. Then the property, on the ground floor, we have just lovely little areas to kick back and relax for a bite to eat or a drink or a pint of Guinness. Very popular with locals. We're sort of in a little neighborhood area, so it's just you'll feel like that you're part of the local scene for sure when you're sitting down in this bar. And we've everything from afternoon tea to breakfast, lunch, dinner, and everything else. So we like to say it's a culinary experience from Italy to Castletownbere and Cork. And then lovely little terrace areas that you can kick back outside and relax in the summer months and enjoy a cocktail or two. So that's the Dillon. I'm based on property, so if you ever need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out to me directly. I'm always happy to help. So thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. And let me get the K Club here up and going. But I have to tell you that Michelle is so helpful with your clients. She has her little list and stash of the best bars and the best, bartenders and the best restaurants. So she'll definitely take care of them. So please reach out to us when you're booking Dublin. And now hopefully you can see the K Club. So we will head outside of Dublin about 30 minutes. And again, 30 minutes also from the airport. So this is a great kind of first stop or last stop as well when you're in Ireland. The K Club has really been on a journey the last 2 years, I would say. They have a new owner, Michael Featherstone, and he's just really fun and kind of boisterous. He was one of the golf club members, and he had the opportunity to buy the property and just really wanted to make it more approachable. If you've sold the K Club in the past, or if you've been to the K Club outside of the last, I'd say, year and a half, 2 years, you need to go back. No jacket and tie are required anymore. It used to be kind of yes sir, no sir, very formal. But now the staff, like I said, they've been on a journey. It starts from the top with the managing director, Paul Heary. He's phenomenal. And it's not just golf anymore either. So here you are, just so you can see us. We're located in Kildare, is the actual kind of village that it's called, and the Straffin Village. And so these are some things that are in the area. Obviously, you are close to Dublin, but we're also in horse country. So I had some clients just a month ago. We did a private tour of the National Stud Farm, which they really enjoyed, and it was only maybe €200. And then you also includes entrance to the Japanese gardens after. We can do a private shopping experience in Kildare Village, which is complimentary to our guest. You're greeted with champagne. You have a private shopper that will kind of show you around. Remember, in Ireland, you do get your tax back, and they have a really wonderful system that it's almost like a little credit card. And so it makes it super easy. So a lot of people are coming to Ireland to buy those big purchases of, purses or jewelry, things like that. We have a great partnership with Brown Thomas as well. So this is the K Club, and it sits on about 500 acres. The River Liffey runs through it, which runs all the way into Dublin. And so there's a lot of water activities as far as fly fishing, stand-up paddleboarding. We're actually producing now, or they're in the process of building a weir to produce their own power. So, sustainability is huge for a lot of clients. But the hotel sits right here on the river. And then we also have two golf course clubhouses, which house more restaurants, whether you're golfers or not, for our leisure guests. It dates back to the 1800s with the Barton family, and they're actually a family that produces wine. It's still around in a label today in France. And so when things were crazy in Ireland, they fled to France, and our sommelier Lisa has been there for 20 years, and she still goes back to France every year to formulate our house wine. So the wine is very good. They have one of the largest wine cellars in all of Ireland. I would highly, highly suggest a wine tour when you're at this property, which is something that you typically don't necessarily think of when you're in Ireland. But phenomenal wines, some really special wines that she's collected as well over the years. The hotel in general has a very classic feel. They've really done a lot to brighten it up, brought in pops of color, some really cool abstract art and beautiful art throughout, but you'll see it does have kind of a classic country manor feel for sure. Here's that wine cellar. It's kind of tricky stairs to go down, so it's a really cool experience. John has been there for 30 years trying to get the cocktails right. He will make up, some wonderful Guinness-based cocktails for you, but this is the Blue Martini Lounge, and it really comes alive after dinner at night. And then we have 3 other wonderful restaurants that have all been reconcepted, especially Palmer and South, within the last 2 years. So this is the Barton Room, gorgeous for your breakfast. Depending on what special programs you're in, breakfast is complimentary. And then you also have the $100 credit as well. So breakfast and dinner here. Great pastry chef. This is actually a pastry, this apple. So really cool. And then the Palmer is more steak and seafood, casual. I just had a family here with multi-gen. So we used this private dining room, which is a great space. And then South is something you'd find where I live in Charleston almost, with barbecue and wings and really fun cocktails. And this is where you're going to run into a lot of the locals, a lot of the golf members. And people say Irish people are friendly. I would say they're probably more nosy. But it's awesome. And by the end of it, they're going to know, your whole trip and tell you where you should go. This is Inda. He runs the pub here in town, the Straffin Inn, which the K Club actually owns. It's the only pub in town. So our guests can go here, again, interact with the locals. There's probably going to be a few dogs in there too. You might learn how to play the barone, which is like one of the traditional Irish instruments. And then you can bike there, walk there, or we can usually have to pick people up and bring them back. This is our beautiful spa. I had one of the best treatments I've ever had here at this spa by actually the lady in the top left. She's wonderful. And indoor pool, indoor hot tub, so great fitness areas. And then think of the K Club now as almost like the Glen Eagles of Ireland. They have so many family activities, so many country kind of estate activities. So biking, I mentioned fly fishing and the paddle boarding. We just added Segway tours, lots of trekking through the woods. We have falconry, horseback riding, clay target shooting, archery. So we can really put together, a nice 48-hour, especially plus itinerary for you. They have a great kids camp. This is their little fairy walk through the woods that the kids always love. And then we do have golf. There's no denying that it's one of the top golf resorts in Ireland. They are Arnold Palmer links courses. So a lot of times when people are coming to Ireland, they're not links, they're Parkland courses. When people are coming to Ireland, they want to play those links courses down in the south that we'll talk about. But these are really significant. They've hosted the Ryder Cup here. They're hosting the Irish Open here this year and for every other year for a few years to come. So your golfers will definitely want to play at the K Club too. This is K Golf World for those few days that it happens to rain in Ireland. We also have indoor activities that you can play golf and practice on, I think, over hundreds of courses around the world. And then just to give you an idea of their bedrooms, this one on the right shows you kind of the new look. So every year they're going to be doing kind of 20 to 30, just really refreshing and keeping them looking great. But again, very classic. We also have two private homes that are at the gates of the resort, 4-bedroom and 3-bedroom that have been redone. So these are wonderful for families and hard to find on a resort, in Ireland. So keep that in mind as well. But this is what it comes back to is the people. They are just so friendly. And you'll know many of their names by the time that you leave, and you'll see their faces when you come back year after year. They have a lot of longevity at this property as well. So that is the gorgeous K Club. Now we're going to head 3 hours southwest to Killarney. And many of you may not be very familiar with this hotel, the Europe, and that's why we're here. The Europe has mainly focused on meeting and incentive travel or kind of more just regional and local Irish, but they are such a wonderful luxury leisure property. And everyone that I have sent here has been so thrilled. They did just become Virtuoso last year and Select. We are preferred platinum as well. So if you're not part of those programs, you can still get the amenities through preferred platinum. So what's unique about this hotel is that it's 5 minutes outside of Killarney town. So I say, go into Killarney at night, go to Reedy's and the Grand and all the amazing bars till wee hours of the morning and have your fun. But in the morning, wake up to this with your coffee on the balcony and, feel refreshed. So they call Killarney the town in the park. It's surrounded by about 20,000 plus acres of national park. So from the hotel, we're literally right across the street from the park, and you can walk into town. It would take about 40 minutes. You can ride a bike into town. That would take you less than 10 minutes, or we can certainly arrange a car for you. So less than a 5-minute car into town. This was built on an UNESCO World Heritage Site back in the 60s, but it's certainly been renovated since then. And when you walk inside, almost everywhere in the hotel takes advantage of the view. So floor to ceiling windows. It's kind of one of those hotels that you're like, oh, I wish my house felt like this. It's just so comfortable. You could have a cocktail or a coffee in a lot of places. And then we have 187 rooms, so not huge. Most of them do have lake view rooms and such a value. I was going to say this with the Dylan and the K Club and this hotel. I mean, starting rates from, 350, 400 euros sometimes of the year. So it's a really, really good value. The rooms are really spacious. They're kind of moving more in this direction as far as the color palette. This year, we're actually taking out 7 rooms to make more 2-bedroom suites. So really, going after that leisure market again. This is the presidential suite. It's massive with a balcony equally as large. They have 2 gorgeous bars. So this is kind of more what I would say the feminine day bar, the brasserie bar. And then we have the Europe bar at night, which has live music, really lively at night. 3 great restaurants. So again, complimentary, extensive buffet breakfast, breakfast, lunch, and dinner here in the Panorama. The brasserie is a little more French flair. And then they have Riva, which is a little more Mediterranean. The true gem of this property property and not to be missed is the spa. So, you know, you've gone to the Dillon, you've gone to the K Club, you've done all the things in the city and in the country, and you're really going to need a day or an afternoon at the spa by this time in Ireland. Trust me. It's a 50,000 square foot spa, 16 treatment rooms. This is the active level that has a beautiful indoor outdoor pool that's open to all guests. You don't have to have a treatment. So this is open year round. I was there last year before Con in December, and steam coming off the outdoor, you know, hot tub, and it's overlooking the mountains that had snow. You almost felt like you were in Switzerland. But really fantastic treatments here, beautiful couples therapy room as well, and then separate men and women's relaxation areas. So definitely want to build in some time to your schedule to spend here at the Europe Spa. It's been voted one of the top spas in all of Europe for 2018, 2019, and multiple other years too. So they do have a membership component here. So the gym is quite extensive, which is great for our guests, but hardly ever anyone in there. And then this area, we're seeing people stay 3, 4, or 5 nights because there's so much to do if you base yourself here. The hotel is literally on the Ring of Kerry. So you go out, turn left at the front drive, and you're on the Ring of Kerry. So that's a wonderful day trip. This is the Gap of Dunloe, which is this amazing glacial valley that was created like during the Ice Age. And you take a jaunting cart or a horse, or you can hike 7 miles up through the valley, and you end at Lord Brandon's cottage, and you may have lunch or a cup of tea, and then you get on a boat and you come back down through the lakes of Killarney. And it is the best day experience. So beautiful. The guides are great. Our little jaunting cart guy, I could hardly understand what he was saying, but it was just really authentic. But the boat guy told us a lot about, you know, the area and the nature and the wildlife. And then you end either here at Ross Castle, or you can end at the Europe's own private pier. So we have fishing on the lake as well. You're never going to see jet skis on this lake. It's very protected. The boats that are used have to have a certain, you know, small engine. So it's a very peaceful view and lake to have out in front of the hotel. This is Muckrose House and Gardens, so a wonderful spot to visit as well in the afternoon with a historic home and beautiful gardens. There is tons of hiking in this area, so if your guests are into that. We have complimentary horseback riding on property, as well as indoor tennis, indoor basketball, pickleball. They are adjacent to the Killarney Golf and Fishing Club, which has hosted the Irish Open. And so our guests get a €50 rate here. It's typically about 150. So this is a great one for golfers to kind of start and warm up. But really, if you're coming to this area, you're going to want to be playing Ballybunion, Tralee, Waterville, Dukes. They're all within 45 minutes to an hour from the resort. So we do have a lot of golfers basing themselves here at the Europe as well. Great shopping in Killarney. Killarney is so, it's just really vibrant. Like they have a 4th of July parade. It's wonderful at Christmas if you have anyone wanting to go, you know, to Ireland for the holidays. So keep that in mind. And we're going to end in Ireland with Dromoland Castle. So, you know, and it is a great way to end if you can do the itinerary kind of how we're suggesting, because it's kind of the quintessential, you know, castle experience. I know many of you are familiar with Dromoland and with Mari Chalk. She comes to America a lot and does a wonderful job representing this property. So I'll just give you a few highlights. And she wishes she could join you today. She's actually in Minneapolis, which she'd much rather be probably here on the call with us. So at Dromoland Castle, it's all about the welcome. You know, if you have a very special occasion or family coming, we can arrange a bagpiper. We can do the horse and hound. We can do the Downton Abbey kind of staff lineup. It's all about the people. You know, these guys have been there for probably 40 years. Many of them are brothers. Many of them are wives and husbands that you'll see that met down here. This is Dennis. He met his wife. I think they started working there when they were like 14. So I think it says a lot, again, that people are there for a long, long time, and you're just really going to feel that in the experience. I love waking up at Dromoland Castle because they're one of the few places that still has wood burning, massive fireplaces. So you wake up and you just it smells very homey and very comfortable and very warm. They've created a lot of really cool activities, especially over COVID. They use that time to curate. So we have a princess experience or a warrior experience. If you have a multi-gen family where, you know, the little girl is met at her chambers by her ladies in waiting, and she's taught how to have tea, and she's fitted for her dress, and they go on a search for the crown, and it's just a really cool, neat experience if you have, again, some multi-gens with a little girl that's maybe having a birthday or something like that. Location, 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 as I mentioned before, just 10 minutes from Shannon Airport. So it's such a great destination to either end with or arrive with. And then this is a little busy, but it just shows you everything that there is to do from Dromoland. So Galway is only 45 minutes away. A lot of times, we are kind of used as the luxury option for Galway because there's not a super high-end hotel there. The Cliffs of Moher are only 45 minutes. So we can actually, from the Europe to Dromoland, we have where you do the river crossing, like car ferry. Then you can stop by the cliffs. You can stop at a couple of villages on the way. So again, we have this whole itinerary planned out, very easy for you. You can go to the Aran Islands. We're working with a company called Secret Ireland that has yachts that go up the River Shannon, and they might stop at a home that has a modern art collection, or they might stop at a home and teach Irish dancing, or how to make brown bread, or how to play hurling, do hurling. So it just depends what your families are interested in. The cliffs are very, very popular, as you can imagine, and Dromoland has curated an experience where you can go after they close with a storyteller and have champagne overlooking the stars. So it's a really neat experience if you don't want to be there with all the tour buses during the day. Doolin and Loop Head are an easy day trip, great little fishing villages, very colorful. If you saw the movie, the Banshees of Inisherin, they were shot on the Aran Islands, and a lot of people still speak Gaelic out here. It's very authentic. So many people want to go over to the islands as well if you're spending a little more time in this area. Mari always says, like, gone are the days of Dromoland being just a one night stay before you leave for Shannon the next day. It's a complete waste of money. You need to be here for 2-3 nights so you can really explore not only the resort, but everything that there is to do in the area. They have partnered with J.J. Corey, which is a whiskey distillery that's not open to the public. So our guests can go in, they can help formulate the whiskey. They actually do a whiskey for Dromoland Castle as well, and you can ship it back to the States. This is Sadie. She trained in Grass. She's at the Burren Perfumery. The Burren is this ice age landscape with all kinds of interesting flora and fauna. And so she curates these wonderful lotions and potions and perfumes. A really beautiful organic cafe here. So it's a great place for lunch, to shop, or you can do a more extensive kind of perfume making class. I just wanted to mention this is a kit that all of the suites and staterooms at Dromoland get. It's about $100 value. So it's a really nice gift that your clients get complimentary. I mentioned Galway. They have really cool food trails there. Food has exploded in Ireland. Everybody is always surprised by the food. They used to kind of boil and stew everything, we think, and it's all potatoes or it's all really bland, but there's some really amazing chefs. And I was very, very pleasantly surprised every time I've been to Ireland now with the food. This is Sadie. She can take your guest foraging along the coasts and teach them, what seaweeds that you can eat and things like that. There's a chocolate tour. But back to Dromoland, it's really all about the history. It dates back to the 1500s. We have a historian that if your clients are into that, they can meet with the historian, especially if they have any O'Brien or, Irish lineage, which Lorna, our genealogist, can research that before your guests arrive. I think it's around $250. And she'll, prepare kind of all of her findings, and then she can meet with the guests when they come. I recently had a family that found out they had a pretty seedy past and some jail time and things like that with some of their family members. So that was a lot of fun. As I mentioned before, the Downton Abbey staff lineup is really impressive and doesn't cost anything if you have a super VIP. We do have the horse and hound welcome and the bagpiper welcome, which has a little bit of a cost, but we're happy to set those up for you for special occasions. And then just stepping inside, they've done a wonderful refresh this last winter of all the public spaces. So, still feeling very traditional, very castle-like, but definitely very fresh. 97 bedrooms and suites. This hotel has true double doubles. So, a lot of times in Europe, it's just a split king. It's true kind of queen, queen, or double doubles here. The rooms are a lot brighter and fresher than you might imagine in a castle. And just let us know, all the rooms are a little bit different. They do have rooms in the turrets, which are really romantic, but they're not romantic if you have like a walking disability or something like that. So the staff is really great about helping you kind of handpick what room is going to work for your guests. And then we have some beautiful dining. This is the Earl of Thomond. It looks very formal with the crystal chandeliers, but it's not. And you can get an appetizer and a bottle of wine, or you can get the full tasting menu. No jacket and tie required here as well. Or there's a beautiful galley just right outside the restaurant that you could have a casual dinner. We have the Fig Tree over in the golf course clubhouse. And then we also have a pub at the inn at Dromoland, which is our like 3-4 star hotel on property as well. This is the bar that everyone loves. We have a singing barman that's famous, Frank. He might be shy to get going, but then he's off to the races and he'll sing the night away for you. Beautiful, beautiful cocktails. They create a signature cocktail book every year with new cocktails. So that's an experience in itself, is to have some of their new signature cocktails. And then again, all of the estate activities from horseback riding, carriage riding, beautiful gardens that were designed by Noche, which designed the gardens of Versailles. We do a lot of engagements here in the garden. They're very sustainable. They're very aware and conscious of preserving the castle for the future. This is Dave. It is the most unique falconry experience I've ever had. So he does a hawk walk. And so you're walking kind of on a nature walk, and he's letting the bird fly from tree to tree. And then all of a sudden he'll come up and you put your arm up and the bird lands on your arm. It's like, wah! But a really, really unique falconry experience. If you have maybe an engagement, he's also trained the birds. They'll tie the ring to the bird and it'll fly in with a little sign, "Will you marry me?" which is really cool. But horseback riding, archery, biking around the estate, fishing, everything that doesn't require a guide, like you can take a boat out complimentary. There's different things that are complimentary, and then if it has a guide or a somebody instructing you, then it has a fee to that, just to remember. We do also have a Parkland course here at Dromoland Castle. They're hosting the Ladies Irish Open again this year, but also in this area are the links courses, which people come to Ireland for. So Lahinch is very close by, Doonbeg, also Ballybunion, all within 40 minutes to an hour. They just reopened the Castle Spa. I'm waiting on new pictures. Have brought in Dr. Barbara Sturm for facials, so really excited about that. They have Seabody, which is a local Irish brand. Forest bathing. This is kind of fun. It's a seaweed bath that you can do, and it's like €100. Really unique. And they have a great new gift shop, which is a curation of Irish design. So Mari always says you will not find a shamrock or a leprechaun in this gift shop, but they have some really, really gorgeous. And so that's Dromoland Castle. And I just want to end on and stealing this from her. And again, she wished she could be here, but people always ask, what's the difference between Ashford Castle, Adair Manor, and Dromoland Castle? First two of them are castles. And I think the location of Dromoland just can't be beat, so close to Shannon Airport. But she always says, imagine if you're the king or queen of England and you're in Buckingham Palace and it's over the top and it's opulent and, everything's just perfection. Yes, sir, no, sir. Formal. That's Ashford Castle. If you're still the king or queen and you want to go to the finest golf resort in the world with beautiful food and not a blade out of grass out of place, that's Adair Manor. And if you still are the king or queen of England and you want to go to Balmoral for the weekend and the Wellingtons are inside the door and everyone knows your name and it's casual, it's elegant still, still comfortable, that's Dromoland Castle. So everybody always kind of resonates with that. So I wanted to end on it as well. This is Mari. Mark Nolan's been the managing director there for 34 years, which is so impressive. And we love working with them. If you are a virtuoso and you haven't received our invitation, I just wanted to let you know Calliope will have 10 hotels there, and we are doing 6 events in Las Vegas. So just shoot me a note if you haven't gotten anything for that. Let me look in the chat here. Who do I contact about an itinerary? You can just shoot me an email for the Irish itinerary, and I can definitely help you out with that. So are there any questions? Any other questions? I don't see any others in the chat. We have recorded this webinar, so I'll send that out with some follow-up information as well. If you want to jump on this afternoon for US and Caribbean at 1, we'd love to have you as well. So thank you guys. Wow, we have 28 people on here. Really appreciate it, and just really appreciate the continued support. And thank you, Michelle, for hopping on from Ireland. And we will see you guys soon. Bye.
Thanks, Natalie. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.